What's up, y'all? Will here at Schedulefly. This is the Restaurant Owners Uncorked podcast, brought to you by us here at Schedulefly. Simple restaurant employee scheduling, legendary customer service, and also brought to you by our sponsors, Pop Menu and Kickfin, and you'll get to hear more about them in just a minute. Today, we have Jim Slowin on the podcast, and Jim is founder and owner of Stella Trainer, Stella, StellaTrainer.com. It is a training platform built for restaurants by restaurant people, and they're really good at what they do. So it's more than a training platform. They're a training partner. And if you take training very seriously, if you understand the value of training, if you need help with training, if you want to overhaul your training, all of the above, get in touch with Jim. Well, listen to this episode, then get in touch with Jim. When you listen to this episode, you'll see why you should. He's super passionate about what he does. He's very good at what he does. He understands how critical training is, and he understands how to get it right and make it effective and make it work. So check out this episode with Jim Slowin, Stella Trainer. But before we dive in, let's hear a word about our sponsor and our Schedulefly partner, Pop Menu. Pop Menu is, well, they're a partner of Schedulefly, and we have a lot of happy mutual customers. But Pop Menu is all about making your day easier and your sales bigger. They will simplify your marketing operations, bring in more guests, capture customer data for personalized remarketing to keep them coming back. With one super simple to use platform that integrates with most point of sales like Toast and Square and a number of others, Pop Menu starts with a beautifully designed, easy to update interactive menu that transforms the guest experience online. It includes a brand new website that's optimized for search engines like Google for no additional cost, automated digital marketing, online ordering and waitlisting, and you'll never miss another call with their AI answering solution that costs as little as 47 cents an hour. Check it out. Check out the link in our show notes. There's so much more in Pop Menu. Here's my 2 cents. I've talked to a lot of our mutual customers, and here's what they say about Pop Menu. Great company, great customer service, great product, great results. Check out Pop Menu and check out this episode of Restaurant Owners Uncorked. Thank you all for listening. See ya. Well, Jim, thank you for taking the time to do this. We tried this before. We had some Wi-Fi issues. So thanks, man. And let's, well, just do me a favor and introduce yourself first, and we'll dive right in.
Thanks, Will. Jim Slowin, co-founder, Stella Trainer, and live here in North Carolina. And what else you want to know?
That's it, man. Tell us about Stella Trainer.
Well, we are an outsourced training solution that helps companies who want to be better with training will get better. In fact, we help companies make training a core competency. That's our goal, and that's what we strive to do.
And what does a typical customer look like for y'all? Like size, number of locations, things like that, or does it vary?
It does vary. We love to work with, the great question, because recently I've really realized that my favorite size group is really that 3 to 20 location, because they really know that training is really, really an important part of their sustainable growth and health of the organization, and they lack the resources to really be able to give to that area. And that's what we're doing here is really bringing the expertise and the skills and the strategies and a team to help them be better on the training side of things. So it's really fun to work with those because they're very entrepreneurial in spirit. Those smaller companies, I know that we share some of the same clients, and the entrepreneurial spirit of the smaller companies, just that, that's how I'm wired from a DNA perspective. So it's a lot of fun to work with them.
So like, what's an example? Like you take a company and let's say they've got whatever, 10 locations. Do they normally not have an in-house training person, or like where's the, like, what's the ideal fit for y'all? What are you looking for when you're trying to find somebody to work with?
Well, first of all, that the only criteria that they really have to have, Will, is that they've got to think that training's important. If they don't think training's important, I can't help them.
Yeah.
So I can't help them. Otherwise, we really can help any group improve what they're doing. And the way that we go about doing that is that yes, we have a learning platform, an LMS, you know, a piece of technology that helps, but we we don't think that technology can solve the people problems that are causing the poor results.
Right.
That our philosophy is that technology is just a tool. And so what we do is we work with the clients, and like a doctor, that we're going to do a checkup and really look deep at their content and their processes and the people parts of their training, and we identify where their opportunities and the reasons for their falling short of their goal, and we work with those things first, and then our team will take their content and processes, and we work collaboratively with folks, and we build it for them, and then we teach them how to use it. So we're giving them a path, a process, a platform, and a team. And we take them from, yes, we'd like to improve our training, Jim, all the way to implementation. And then we're kind of like that personal coach. Well, I came up with a really fun analogy within the last 2 weeks that I'd love to share with you. And, you know, improving a training program and taking on maybe implementing an LMS like Stella Trainer, you could compare that to like saying that you want to go climb Mount Everest. You know, it's a pretty daunting project. It's a pretty daunting thing to do. And what would you do if you were going to go climb Mount Everest? I bet you would hire a Sherpa.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because they know the way. They've been there. They've done it. They can guide you, and they can walk you through all of the obstacles that are going to be in the way, keeping you from the success. And the success is getting to the top without dying, and all the way back down too, I guess. So I kind of look at it like we're a training Sherpa for folks, and it's kind of a fun analogy because it really is analogous.
Yep. No, that's a really good one. That's a very good one. Well, so how do you find new customers, Jim?
Will, I network my butt off, and I'm about relationships. So every time we get a new client, you know, we work our buns off to make sure that they're the happiest people in the world, and hopefully that they're gonna, you know, want to introduce this to other people. But this is a relationship game. Our industry's so small. We're only 1 or 2 degrees of separation. I can't believe that we've both had businesses in the same state for 10 years, and it took us 10 years to meet, Will. But it's pretty funny. You wouldn't believe how many of the coincidences that happened while I was up at the NRA show in Chicago. How many people I was sitting next to that all of a sudden, you know, they know this person, and we know them really well. And it happened probably a dozen times. And the good thing about our industry, there's a lot of different restaurant companies out there, and it's about relationships, and you know, people like to recommend to other people folks that are doing a good job. So we know that that's what we have to do first, because no one, they may like you, but if you don't do a good job, they're not going to recommend you.
Yeah, no doubt about that, for sure, for sure. How are you all, like, I mean, I don't know how many training companies are there out there. There must be a lot of them. Like, what are the things that are unique about what y'all do? or sort of your differentiators?
Yeah. So I was at a conference earlier this year, and a woman said there are over 1,200 learning platforms out there on the market,
Yeah. Okay.
and so they're selling technology, Will, and I am so thrilled to say that our differentiator is that we're selling an outcome.
Yes. Yeah.
Our competitors, when they sell to a client, their job for all practical purposes is done. If someone chooses to work with us, our job literally is just beginning, because we're selling an outcome. So we're going to take them from yes to improving all parts of their training, building it within our platform, and then teaching them how to use this tool, and then coaching them up so that they can change their training habits. So they're selling technology, and we're selling better training.
Well, makes a ton of sense, man. I mean, it seems to me that if you've got folks that are very well trained, I've got to assume that's going to decrease your turnover because they're better at their jobs, and your restaurant results are better, and everybody's thriving. I mean, without that effective training, then I can say it, like, I know my daughter is working somewhere right now where there's not like a lot of training, and the turnovers, it's obvious. It's like, but it seems like that would help a ton when you have a really good company in there that's hands-on like yours, that helps facilitate that process.
You're exactly right. When in my earlier days, when I was playing unit level restaurant manager there in Greensboro, North Carolina, I noticed a trend and a statistic. I was a math major in college, so I love numbers. And what I noticed is the following ratio. Out of every 10 people I hired, 2 people were going to make it and be successful regardless of what I did with their training. I could hand them a white piece of paper and say, here's your training, and they would figure it out. What does that mean? It means I get to take no credit in their success. They were going to figure it out. Also, 2 people weren't going to make it no matter what we did. We could set them up to win beyond anything we could ever imagine, and they still weren't going to make it. And what I really realized is it was up to us how well we handled those middle 6, setting them up for success. How many of those people made it to 90 days? The number one reason for turnover inside of 90 days is poor training. People weren't set up for success. They don't experience success, so they quit and go somewhere else that is going to set them up to win. So
yes. Okay. You got the 80-20. 20% are always going to be your top performers. That's just, and then you've got, so that middle 6 is where you've really got to figure out. I mean, that's where you're making the difference. You're making the difference by taking that middle 6 and giving them a much greater likelihood of success. And if we see that, I mean, turnover is expensive, man. It costs so much money to lose these folks. So you all are adding significant value to the bottom line when you're getting people that, and just the flow of everything and the relationships and the dynamics of what's happening in the restaurant family when you're having less people coming and going all the time, and a more cohesive unit.
Well, that last point, Will, is one of the most important reasons I believe that that we're contributing to our industry. I learned really early on one of the basic rules of the restaurant business, that the restaurant business is a lot of fun if you have enough people that are well trained. Our jobs are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But if the opposite is true, our environment can really, really be challenging. And if I'm going to spend that much of my life at work, I want to have fun. And so I really do think that if I can set people up to be better at training, experience less turnover, experience more joy, and a byproduct of that they actually get to make some more money as well, everyone involved, I feel like I'm really contributing. And I was given a gift of a passion and a talent for training and development, and I feel like for the last decade, figuring out how to use that to help others. So it's a lot of fun.
So you say, it needs to be folks that value training. Do most restaurants and restaurant groups not value training? I mean, is it not something that's a priority? Are there a lot of them that just don't take it real serious? And I say that again, I have a family member that works where one doesn't, but it surprises me when I see that.
That it surprises me as well. And there's some reasons. I'm going to really look at this pragmatically, Will, and not judgmentally. I'm going to look
Okay.
at it very, very pragmatically. And it's really hard. I jokingly say all the time, we could do a pretty good job in the restaurant business with training if it wasn't for the customer. And running a busy restaurant is hard all by itself. Figuring out how to train someone while you're doing all of those other things is a real challenge because there's so many moving parts and so many different people involved. So sometimes it's a lack of discipline, or for some people maybe they don't know how, and for those people we're a tremendous value add because we're really showing you the way. It's like hiring a personal trainer. You want to get in better shape? We can show you, we can teach you how. You're going to still have to do the work, but we can really show you how to get there. So some people, I think that they just don't know how to get there and that they wish they were better. And so we really work with our clients and kind of say, this isn't going to be easy. There aren't any shortcuts here. I mean, we know lots of people that say, I want to get in better shape, but are they willing to do the work?
Gotcha. Makes a ton
There
of
aren't
sense.
any magic pills.
All right, y'all. Time for a little mid-episode break to talk about Kickfin, our mid-episode sponsor and a great business. Thousands of restaurants, bars, and breweries use Kickfin to tip out their employees instantly, no cash required. With Kickfin, tips go directly to your employer's bank of choice the second their shift ends. It's a really simple solution to a really big problem because if you're still paying out credit card tips in cash, it's costing you. Time-consuming bank runs and cash counting take managers away from work that matters. Cash is hard to track, which leads to accounting headaches, and it creates the perfect opportunity for theft, human error, and compliance issues. Bottom line, there's never been an instant, secure way to pay out tips until Kickfin. It's an easy-to-use software that sends real-time cashless tip payouts straight to your employees' bank accounts 24/7, 365. Kickfin gives managers hours back in their day, makes reporting a breeze, and protects your business from risk. Most importantly, employees love it. Restaurants can have Kickfin up and running overnight. Employees can enroll in seconds. No hardware, no contracts, no setup fees. Visit kickfin.com for a personalized demo and see how restaurants across the country are digitizing tips with Kickfin. That's what they like me to read. I will tell you this. I know the folks at Kickfin. Check out the episode with Brian Hassan, the co-CEO of Kickfin, was on here on the podcast. Great people, love what they do. They treat their customers well. We have mutual customers that love the product and love the way they, the relationship they have with Kickfin. So check it out, link in the show notes, and let's check out the rest of this episode.
What does an engagement typically look like with you? And let's say you've got a place and they have 8 locations. Do you work with them for years at a time? Do you work with them for 6 months? How does that normally play out? And I know it probably varies, but I'm just curious what that process is typically like.
It does vary, but it all looks similar. And what it would look like is that if someone says yes, we go, that's awesome. Let's start with server training. If they're a full service restaurant, that's what most people start with because that's what they employ the most of in full service restaurant. And we'll get each each new client gets assigned an onboarding coach that's on our team, and we have different coaches on our team that have been former directors of training for some very significant companies across the country. And so what we do is we have a recipe and a formula and a system that we use to working with new clients to bring them on. First, we assess all of their materials and processes, get a feel for their challenges and their strengths and their goals. And then we make some recommendations for how they would improve what they're already doing. And then we build it for them in a collaborative format. And what we tell people, Will, jokingly, but truthfully, is that we're going to give you ideas, suggestions, and our opinion, and then we'll shut up and do whatever you tell us to do. And we promise not to say we told you so if you don't follow our lead. And then then we take them all the way to implementation. And the implementation, Will, is almost one of the most critical parts. We can give you a great tool, but if we don't help you implement this new great tool, it won't be as effective as it could be. And part of being effective is changing habits. Training is a series of habits, and that's what we really work hard on. And then what we've done, Will, is that we're outsourced training. When someone we check in with folks on a quarterly basis to make sure that anything that we put in, if there's any changes or ongoing coaching. So that's something new that we've implemented in our company, that we don't stop at implementation. We're your ongoing coach. We'll take care of your updates. We just want to take that admin function side of things off someone's plate, because they've already got so many other things on their plate. And figuring out how to utilize software in the most optimal way or efficient way, we can take that off their plate for them. So it's like I said, we're an outsourced training solution now.
Do you work with restaurants and hospitality groups all over the country, or is it typically in the Southeast, or where are you located mostly?
We're probably in 35 out of 50 states, so all over the country.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
You travel a lot?
I to conferences for networking purposes, and when I'm going to be in some areas to visit clients, I do like to meet them in person at some point in that first 6 months, because this isn't an anonymous business for us. I really want to know who these people are. I'd like to break bread. We had the most wonderful email from a group out of Long Island complimenting us on a very challenging onboarding, 6 different brands, 3 positions for each one of those brands. And we did it in under 3 months, because they needed to have it done before their seasonal hiring started, at the beginning of May. And we just nailed it, Will. It was the best thing we've ever done so far, because of not because of me, but because of our team. And their COO just sent the most wonderful compliment to us, and saying, when you're in the area, we must break bread together. I really would like to get to know you better. And given his background and where he has worked in his previous past, he'd worked for the gold standard of full service restaurants. And so he's not the kind of person who's going to throw compliments out lightly. So
Sure.
it really meant a lot.
I bet it did. So you were able to do that.
In fact, Will, he used to work for one of your clients. He used to be with Bricktops.
Oh yeah, awesome. Okay. Yeah.
So their standards, and we ended up getting them as a client because he used to be with Bricktops, and they said some nice things about us. So it's been a wonderful journey. In fact, that was a lot of work, Will, and our team really nailed it.
So you were able to do, but you did that. That's a remote like you're able to do this remotely through.
Yes.
through communication tools, through email, through Zoom, through whatever you're able to do this. Okay.
Yep. Yep. And then, we did an individual rollout meeting for each one of their brands, and they probably had 25 people on each call because of the managers and all the people involved in training, because they really value training. And it was a really fun, restaurant people are just awesome. I mean, we're a very unique group of individuals. We are definitely a lot of fun. We're wired very different.
So how was the NRA show?
Relationship wise, man, it was awesome. I enjoyed walking the floor, seeing all the new things out there. Again, I just love the people that are affiliated with the restaurant industry. And I had a lot of wonderful coincidental interactions, and some I was very prepared for. So that I caused to happen, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed going up there and going to the different restaurants. And then also, you never know what you're going to see at the restaurant show. I know I only go as a non-exhibitor, but I know a lot of the people who do exhibit. So there's a lot of good relationships there.
A lot of exhibitors, that's for sure. So much. It's amazing to me that I think about just all the restaurant tech platforms, but you're talking about 12, you said 1,200 LMS systems available. I mean, but that's not just for hospitality, is it?
No. There's only a few, like a handful, that are that are being utilized in our industry. We're the only one that I'm aware of that does what we do. We built ours specifically for restaurants, period. We think like restaurant people. We've designed it specifically for the unique environment. All the others are being applied to be used in the restaurant business. And that there's a lot of workarounds. We live in a pretty unique world. That's one of the good things about working with us. You don't have to explain why you want something to be done a particular way. We've probably thought about it.
Got it. Love it, man. I love the passion that you have for the industry and for what you do. It's very palpable and contagious.
Life's short, man. Enjoy what you're doing, and I am really lucky. I consider myself very lucky to be doing something that I love so much and am so passionate about.
Well, I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Is there anything we should discuss that we didn't discuss today so far, Jim? This has been a wonderful and delightful conversation.
No, I think about that, our offline conversation about the arc that your particular company took has been refreshing, Will, and that you've had a positive impact on my thoughts and the trajectory of our particular company, that we're not going to try to be all things to all people, and really find our niche. And so those emerging brands, those 5 to, even the single unit, I because of how we built our team, if a single unit company out there now, has a passion for training and wants to be better, I'm not nearly as intimidated about taking on a client and knowing that we can help someone like that. And knowing our lane, you were a good influence on me, and I just wanted to say thank you that you chose a lane, and you established what that was. And I think that's you had a huge benefit helping me and my business partner, because I've shared a lot with him about our conversations.
Oh man, well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, it's been a wonderful thing to just, know what we're good at, stay in our lane, stay focused, focus. And the more you focus, you're like a laser, and you can just little laser can make a big impact. So yeah, I'm really glad to hear that, man. It gives a lot of clarity, makes the day a lot easier, and eliminates a lot of guesswork and, being frazzled and not really knowing what the right answer is. So I'm super thrilled to hear that anything that I've said or told you about how we've done things has made any impact on y'all. And I hope it's been a really positive one. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. I'm glad I got a chance to tell you that. So yeah. Um, nope, that's it. I'm as I said, I got my start in restaurant leadership here in the Carolinas after waiting tables through college, and um, I'm lucky enough to have a business partner that is really good at technology, understands the hospitality space, and is not your typical tech guy. That he is he's just an unusual talented person in that he really can do a lot of different things all tied together, where normally it would take three different human beings with three different skill sets to do the things that he can do. So like your company, we bootstrapped ours as well, and if he didn't have the ability to do that many different things, we wouldn't have been able to bootstrap it. So it really gives us a lot of flexibility to work with who and how we want.
Well, I think you have a wonderful blend. You sound very similar to us of having, you have a good and an effective technology, but the business is not all about the technology. The business is about people and helping people and using the technology as a tool. But, people are what make this business great. Great people that love what they do, that are passionate about hospitality, that have great cultures and love bringing people into their restaurants and making them feel welcome. And that's always has been, always will be a people issue. We give them some tools to help make things a little easier, but I love your focus on, the relationships and the people part of it, man. And so you guys will continue to thrive in this business. I'm convinced of that, because that ain't ever going to change in this industry.
That's exactly right. Because I don't care what happens with AI and robots. That's not hospitality.
Oh, heck no. No. I mean, they'll use, I mean, that's fine if like McDonald's wants to have, machines flipping burgers and touch screens and like one person and they're just working on equipment or something one day, like whatever. That's not why we go there. We don't go there for hospitality, but when we go to a restaurant, we want to sit down with our family or our friends or our loved ones, or to celebrate together or to mourn together. It requires good people. It requires well-trained, happy, thoughtful, intentional, passionate, hospitable people. Won't ever change. As long as we're around, that's not going to change. So I love your style, man, and I love your enthusiasm, and I love the way you built your business, and I'm glad we got to do this, and I want us to stay in touch, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time to, share your story with our audience, and hopefully, those of you that are listening, hey, if you agree training is important, and if you're listening to this podcast, you're always trying to learn, which means you understand the value of training. So you want to get in touch with Jim. In fact, Jim, how do people get in touch with you?
My email is jim@getstella.com, GETSTELLA.com. Our website is stellatrainer.com. And my phone number is on there, and I actually answer my phone. So that's an unusual thing for a business, but love to chat.
You and I both have our cell phone numbers on our website, man. I love it. Well, Jim, thank you very much, man. Appreciate you immensely. And I hope that we get to break bread together. I'm sure we will. We will. It's just a matter of when, not if. So we will at some point. But in the meantime, Thank you for doing this, and have an awesome rest of your day and rest of your week, my man.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Will. Have a great one.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Hey, y'all, before you sign out on this episode, a couple of quick things. Number one, if you listen to us on iTunes, if you could give us a star rating and a comment, it would help so much. Same thing if you're on Spotify, follow us, or any platform that you're on. If you would just do whatever their rating or follow options are. What that does is it tells the algorithms that this content is good and meaningful and valuable, and it'll tell them to put it in front of more people. So thank you for doing that. If you take the second to do that, that'd be so awesome. And also, if your restaurant is either using Excel or you're using some software that's expensive and has a lot of bells and whistles you don't need, or maybe doesn't have great customer service, we'd love to take care of you at ScheduleFly. Simple, easy restaurant employee scheduling software, legendary customer service, 30-day free trial, schedulefly.com. My cell phone number's on the trial sign-up page. Thank you for listening. See ya.